Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I'm just after coming back from rugby coaching, so I thought I'd get round to a video that I really wanted to do, which I said I do, and that's about rugby because it's been something that I've been doing for such a long time, been an integral part of my life, really. So thought it'd be something to give its entire video to, was debating whether or not to just do a sport video or to do rugby as well. But I think you kind of miss things when you're just doing the sport video and just talking in general. Do you know what I mean? And plus, like as I say, rugby's been such an integral part of my life. I think it's important to give it the respect it deserves. And it's also just because I've been reflecting on life a lot lately and just did I give everything my all and looking back on stuff, like reflecting and looking back with nostalgia. And so, without further ado, I'm going to get into this one straight away. And so, as you already know, I've spoken about it. I started playing rugby when I was 7, not long after I got my autism diagnosis. And like it was with me for all of my all of my life, pretty much since then. It's been in my head all the time, non-stop. Um, it's all I could think about. Gave me a real sense of identity, and I really wanted to just play for Ireland. Like that was my goal, and it's something that I just really wanted to do. No other goals, no other desires. Didn't care about having friends or nothing. Just wanted to go train and play rugby, watch the games at the weekend, and that was it really. So it's quite an isolated sort of life, but it was too awkward to socialise. At that stage I didn't have any social skills, but I was decent at rugby, so I thought I'll just keep that up. Um, and yeah, played up in St Mary's in Templeville, so just across the road from Temple Oak College, and that's where my uncle played. He was the one that got me into rugby. I kind of looked up to him. My dad wasn't really, a man's man, you want to call it that. Whereas my uncle was the big strong fella who we all kind of looked up to. So I thought, oh yeah, right, I'll get into rugby. My mum said to him, "Oh, would you get the lads in up at Mary's?" And he was like, "Yeah, grand." So we went up and tried it out, and we loved it. Me and my brother, we got into it really fast, and it was just something to keep you occupied. It's something when you're young to get rid of all your pent up frustrations and all your energy. But I found it hard to make friends with kids. It was difficult. I just didn't see eye to eye with them, and they were obviously clicking and forming friendships, and I just had no social skills at all. I was always just on my own and kind of going, "Can we just get into this now, for fuck's sake?" And I don't want to be sitting around doing any more drills. I just want to get into the nitty gritty, like play a match or whatever. I always hated talking, like all the talk that goes out before a game and all the build up. I hated the training sessions before games. I just wanted to get the game started. I was someone who just needed to get into the action, and that'd be that. And that's how I played. I was very nervous though. Like I'd almost freeze up, and I couldn't. Almost couldn't act. Like trying to just force myself to make a tackle or to carry the ball. That was easier, but to just get myself stuck into the game. Sometimes I'd be in a world of my own, and it'd be hard to get me to come back to planet Earth, for want of a better word. But it's something I never even considered that a lot of other kids don't even think about. They don't have to worry about it. I had to worry about switching myself on and not being in my own little bubble. I had to play and focus on the game. So it was literally like go to school all the way through primary school. You've no real worries in the world, no real friends, but who cares? Just get to train and play your rugby and do all the other sports you're doing. Grand. Um, Secondary school hits, and I'm like, oh right, this is one of the only non-fee paying schools in the area. that plays rugby. So grand, my mum sent me there. I went there and played rugby all the way throughout. And I already said about how I played. I was quite good, I did very well, and I'd kind of been asked to play in St Mary's for older clubs. I didn't really think, now looking back on it, that it was a good idea, but at the time I was like, yeah, why not? So I was 12 playing for the under 15s team, and then I ended up playing a game for the under 18s at like 13, which is obviously very dangerous. Like most of the lads, the oldest they'd be is 17 because it's under 18s, but you would get the odd 18-year-old and they're basically becoming men and you're still a boy, so that's quite dangerous. And it can kind of turn you off rugby as well. And I was literally frozen solid, like I was there going, fucking hell, these guys are going to kill me. But I was always up for, yeah, I'll play, I'll do whatever you want me to do, no problem. Um, they're complimenting you and you can't just keep playing for the easier team. It was kind of funny how I didn't like playing with strangers before, like I'd like to play with my family and my friends, but didn't really like messing around with strangers. So like playing rugby was weird. It kind of gave me that element of I'm okay with this, like touch as well. As I said, I had a bit of a tipping habit when I was younger, not a bit, a real habit with tipping. If someone brushed into me, I'd have to poke them back and whatever, brush into them, bump into them. But with rugby, for some reason, I never got that. I kind of understood these are the rules, this is the game, that's fine, yeah, no problem. Um, and then obviously as I got to 15, I was saying it before, if you've watched any of my previous videos, but basically getting offered a Leinster trial, just, a session up with them at 15, and my school coach just being a dickhead about it and left a really bad taste in my mouth. I got offered that playing with St Mary's, my club, not my school. Went to a different school, but yeah, it just left a bad taste in my mouth, and I guess a bit of the motivation left me. Because, like I say, I don't know if I would have ever been professional, but it's nice to say you went for a trial and he decided to be a stickler for the rules and not help me out anyway. And I found that you've got to set yourself up for disappointment a lot of times because life isn't all sunshine and rainbows. And I had nothing else I wanted to do. I didn't give a shit about socialising. I didn't give a shit about partying or going to discos or whatever. It was literally training and that's it. Go to rugby training, go to the gym, go boxing training, football, whatever. Um, so it was my everything, and then obviously I was like, fuck this, and I started drinking and socialising, and yeah, it makes you wonder what if, doesn't it? But you can't be bitter about it, as much as I try. Obviously, I'm a little bit because it's in my head, but yeah, so I stopped going training for the first time ever, and like rugby gave me a reason to live, essentially, that's how important it was for me. Like it was everything to me. I used to just put so much hours into training. I used to put so much dedication and dealing with crippling anxiety and no social skills. I wasn't confident at all because you see a lot of athletes, and you think to yourself, "Oh, they're arseholes, they're cocky." Like, that's why a lot of times the star athletes in these American dramas are always, the cool jocks. They're always picking on the nerdy or weaker kids because they can. They're physically stronger, they're more intimidating, and quite narcissistic. Like you have to have good self belief, and that's quite an exploitative type of personality to have. And you hear a lot of them like they don't care who they're stepping on because they just want to get to the top and they don't care about who they piss off. So like you see how being narcissistic can benefit you. As unfortunate as that is, like you want these cocky dickheads to not succeed, but they do because they're not concerned about other people's well-being. They just want to get to the top for themselves, and I guess I was always too concerned about everyone else, and I didn't wasn't necessarily headstrong, you know. Um, I had the work ethic and the determination, but I didn't have the belief in myself that yes, I can do this. Like I know full well I can do this, And now it's only now, like if any of these videos I sound arrogant or cocky or whatever, I never would have said I was good. Would not said that I was decent at rugby. And yet everybody always tells me that I was good, I was great, and they're always trying to encourage me to come back. But I never saw it. I always thought, I need to do more work. The competition aren't sleeping, they're not resting, and so yeah, it's all right when you're in school, and I'm seeing that now. It's convenient. You can go training, and it's right in your doorstep. Straight after school, let off a bit of steam, go to training, and come home, do your homework or whatever. But like I said, I got used for the older teams, and then there was one time where my mum just said, "No, you're getting killed every week. These lads are much older and bigger and stronger than you are. You're not playing." And I was like, "All right, fair enough," because I saw one of the teams they wanted me to play for, and we're like, "Nah, fuck that. This is just ridiculous." And that does happen a lot. Unfortunately, if you do say yes. And my mum would have kind of always been like, and my dad as well, especially, would have been like, "Oh, they're grand, they're big young fellas, they'll be fine." But sometimes you're not. You're still a child, you can't be going out getting broken up. It's going to turn you off the sport, and if it doesn't, and you do go out, you're going to get broken up. But it can also make you stronger and tougher, which it did with me for sure. But also made me anxious as hell. Yeah, like there was so much of a love hate relationship at rugby. It's unreal. Like I do love it. Like it was a sense of, and it has been a sense of my identity, and I guess it is again now because I'm coaching it. But I said it before. I was never the most athletic kid, right? I was never the smartest kid. Um, I'm naturally a fat kid who's extremely anxious, sweaty, um, twitches. Like I get anxious ticks sometimes because I get so nervous. Um, Fitness doesn't necessarily come naturally to me. I'm strong like with a static type of strength. Like I can move a heavy load off the ground, like deadlift and squat and all. But in terms of calisthenics, like chin ups and army push ups and dips, stuff like that, tricep dips, that is. You're going up and yeah, you get the idea. So I was always like that. Oh my god, I'm useless. I can't do. I'm not the best at anything. But I realised what I was the best at. That was pushing myself. Like there's a great All Black, Richie McCaw, and everybody says it about him. And I comparing myself to Richie McCaw is a bit step too far, but he wasn't the most talented rugby player in the world. Like in terms of the flair and skills. But my God, did he put in a huge work rate? And that's why he was so valued around the place. Probably one of the toughest men. And I remember just feeling really ballsy and really manly, for want of a better word, when I would get bruises, cuts on my face, on my legs, black eyes from a fight you get into in the game. Had my cheeks sliced open with a boot before, and there's literally I could stick my tongue out there. They did a good job on the scars though. I split my forehead open like right down the middle. Like I went to dive on a ball, and then someone went to kick the ball, and their shin just caught me and split me right on the middle of the head. And even though we've been going at each other, like the two teams in that game, the lads from the other team were like, "Oh fuck, you alright, mate?" I was like, "Yeah, cheers, lads." Blood dripping down my head. I remember thinking my hands bleeding, and I looked, and then blood was dripping, and I kind of looked up and was like, "What the fuck?" Um, Another time, this pinky here was literally bent back that way, hit an L shape. It was fucking nasty. And my mum, in fairness to her, stepped up and cracked it back into place. I was sitting there just kind of going, "Oh, is it ready? Is it ready? Is it done? Is it done?" And she was like, "Yep, it's done." I was like, "Oh, fuck, that was fast." She did a great job. Um, but that's kind of like who I was. And people were cheering for me when I came back out because oh, he's a tough bastard, he's always got cuts and bruises on him and black eyes. He'll play through an injury, he's got real balls of steel, this guy. Um, and that's kind of like the persona I wanted to give, that I'm a hardy fella, that I put my body on the line. I mean, that sounds quite cringy, but it's a tough sport, like rugby's a very tough sport, and it's a great sport. Teaches you respect, teaches you discipline, um, gets you fit as well. You've also got to get into the gym, so there'd be a lot more emphasis on the gym in rugby than, say, soccer or even Gaelic football, and like they're more physically fit in terms of aerobic fitness. But you need to be a combination of gym strong and also aerobically fit. Like it's different to American football in that regard, that you have to be able to run, but also you got to have a lot of muscle. Whereas you get away in that with being big and strong, but you don't have to have any fitness if you're a blocker or whatever. Um, but you know what I mean? Like you have to have so many different skills. You don't just get to be good at running with the ball or tackling. You've got to have both of them. Then you've got to be good in the set piece, like scrums, lineouts, lifting, driving, as in driving in a mall or whatever. Um, I'll go through the whole definition of rugby in this, but it's a sport of real skill, and I'm obviously biased because I've played it all my life, but being told like you're really good at a sport like that because you've got that work ethic, like my brother'd be a lot more naturally talented and stronger than me in rugby, but he wouldn't have had the same work rate. And when I started training with him, I got him fit, and then like Jesus, he was unstoppable. And even like to take it away from me and to kind of go, all right, yeah, I should have gotten somewhere, and yeah, fair enough, fine. But with him, I don't see why he didn't get somewhere. He was so unbelievably talented at the game, like the strength of him, the size of him, speed. Like you look at rugby players, Pacific Islanders in particular, and you think the reason they're so hard to stop in a tackle is because they're so strong, but they're also so fast. Like if you're a big fella and you're very strong, but you're very static, you're not very mobile, you're easy to tackle. But he had that blend of just speed, agility. He could offload, he could do it all, and I was there kind of going, how the fuck has he not gotten somewhere? Whatever about me, like maybe there are lads better than me, but he is, like he was playing with full grown men, me and him, like when I was 19 and he was 17, and he was smashing fully grown men. Like he just had that natural strength and ability, and you're there thinking, is it because we're more quiet and not as confident, we're more shy? Because we're both bags of nerves. We grew up in a stressful household where there was a lot of nerves flying around, a lot of tension. Obviously, me having autism and comorbid anxiety, like that's my diagnosis. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. I've got fucking anxiety in my diagnosis. And it's a real shame because you do think to yourself, if I didn't have that anxiety, would I have done better? Would I have had more self belief? Because anxiety is real. My God, I'm going to die. The world is going to close in, and I'm just gonna die. you know, Everything is so bad. Oh, there's danger in every corner, and you're a bit of a chicken shit in some regards. Um, because the anxiety makes you scared about everything. Like have panic attacks, heavy breathing because everything's too loud. And people are on top of you. So you think to yourself, how the fuck did I ever play rugby? Like it's an aggressive sport. You've got to be, you know, violent. I saw the cringiest thing in I watched Steve Austin's Broken Skull Ranch, and a fella just screaming violence. But yeah, you kind of have to just go out there and scream violence. It's a sport of aggression, and you've got to have it all together. You can't let your nerves get the better of you. And I just found too many times I would do my damnedest to work on myself and get really good, and some fella would just let the team, or the team would let me down basically. Um, they'd say all these things before the game. We're gonna smash this fella. We're gonna hit this lad. We're gonna, And I was never one to talk big before a game because I thought to myself, I might not. I might get put in my arse here, I might get smashed, but fuck it, we'll go out and find out and I'll do the talking on the pitch. It was like my mum and my dad, they never really encouraged me to be aggro in games or anything like that. My mum in particular was always, kind of an idealist in that sense of play by the rules and play fair and all that stuff. And a lot of people I would have grown up around would have been the same way. And my dad was more, well, he coached me in football, but he would have always said, just play a fair game, be strong, be solid. And I guess that's kind of how he was. He wouldn't have really been a dirty player, more so like me, self critical. And he always kind of said that to us, like, be hard on yourself, me and my brother. I don't know if that's the best advice. Like, even just to touch on another sport for a second, but playing soccer. I know, I'm just saying it in case there's anyone American watching. Football. There we go. But I'm only saying this because this is a side of sport that I didn't really like. Yeah, and I want to give an example of it. The screaming and the roaring on the sideline and just the bitching and the giving out that happens in sport. You're not prepared for it, and like people sell you this ideal world of sport. There's a lot of shit that goes on the pitch, and then when you talk to other lads who have played sport as well, like if you know, you know, and if you've played sport for any length of time, like a team sport, where it's a real macho environment, then lads will know what you're talking about. But um, I'll even give you an example of just lads trying to throw you off your game. So I used to play centre half, centre back. Centre half's an older term, but yeah, centre back in football. I remember my dad was always really hard on me. He was always like, "Oh, don't get pushed around." Or if a fella won a ball ahead of you, he'd be giving out to you saying, "Oh, you got pushed off. Look the size you. That should never happen." And you're there going, "I already feel shitty enough. Will you fuck off?" But it was always so critical, and then he didn't help because he was critical as well. And I remember before he actually gave me praise for this, but a ball was kicked down the line, and I went in for a slide tackle to win the ball, and I got a bit of the ball, but took the fella out as well. Like I tripped him up, and my dad was like, "Well done, Dan, great tackle." And then the ref gave a penalty, and I was like, "I got the ball, ref," you know. But he gave me a yellow card and gave the lad a penalty, and the lad missed it, and he was a bit of a mouthy little shit. And like in games, I would just, if I got involved in the verbal stuff, I found my own game went to shit, right? So I really tried not to get dragged into the verbal stuff. But this lad was like, "You ever do that to me again and I'll batter you, you fat cunt." And I was standing there kind of going, "Sure you will, yeah." And I just said to him, "Alright, go on then." Kept it simple enough. Wasn't one for big words. Um, but kind of had his card marked, so when a striker gets the ball, they're facing away from the goal. So it was like, right, I'm going to get this fella now. I'm going to teach him a lesson. Went in and kicked the back of his legs, like got him in the back of the calves and knocked him to the ground. And he got up nearly in tears, going, "Oh, I'm going to kill you, you fat cunt." And I said, "I'm waiting, come on." Like I'm there kind of going, I've gotten a lot of verbal abuse in my life. A lot. A lot of people saying shit to me, so I'm kind of like, fuck it, I'm well able to take this, actually do something, and a lot of people don't, you know. Um, I was there kind of going, "Alright, go on," and then he got a yellow card, and I was just clapping like, "Oh, yeah, well done." It was like my job was done, but got a taster for it, where people will try and say stuff to you like, "Oh, you fat cunt," and put you off your game like, "Oh, you're shit," or if you drop a ball, like patting you on the head, shit like that. And rugby's no different in that regard. Like, there's more respect for the referee, sure, but in saying that, I've played games as a young teenager, and then the the parents are obnoxious. Like I remember being as young as 12. I said it before, but a kid like about 15 or something, and he's there saying to one of our coaches, "Are you serious, you fucking idiot? Like, just being an entitled little prick, and you get a lot of that because it is more of an elite sport. You've a lot of entitled little pricks, like in football, it's more of a working class sport. There's a bit more, you know, argy bargy and I suppose scummier lads on the sideline roaring abuse at the ref, and you get that in Gaelic football and hurling as well. Um, Bit more of a rowdy bunch, if you want to call it that. I've played all those sports though, so I kind of know the crowds that come to it. And in Gaelic, like GAA, like hurling and Gaelic football and soccer, there is definitely more abuse and less respect for the ref. Having said that, though, I didn't find that rugby was very respectful of the ref in a lot of games. You know, like as I said, parents going behind the goalposts and roaring abuse at the ref, trying to put our fullback off his game and giving him abuse, and then sometimes even the other coaches saying stuff to our players, like the coach saying it, you know, it's ridiculous. Going, he's weak, look at him, he's not confident, he's not going to make the tackle, and he's shit, and all this stuff. And your man saying, could you please shut them up, ref? And then the coach giggling and laughing like a fucking gobshite. And you're there kind of going, how fucking pathetic are you? This is a kid's game. You're an adult and you're roaring abuse on the sideline at one of our players who was a child. Like, it's pathetic. And it takes the enjoyment out of it. I can't remember can't tell you the amount of times where I just didn't want to go because I was there going, I hate this. This makes me feel like shit. It's just such a toxic environment, you know. Some of the teams you play against, not even just the lads you're playing against, like they're just horrible pricks. Like they're real up their own arses and they think they're so much better than you. And some of the stuff that gets said to you on the pitch, and you kind of feel shitty about yourself. But adults doing it as well. Coaches arguing with our coaches on the sideline, trying to antagonise them. And yeah, maybe I'm a bit biased, but in fairness, our coaches used to always try and be fair, but the other coach would be obnoxious. And in some cases, I felt like our coaches didn't stand up for us enough, you know, which wasn't really great, you know. And you feel like, you know, your coach has to have your back. But when you're going out in games as well, where you're one of the younger lads, and you're getting broken up a little bit, you're getting smashed up because you're shitting yourself, and you're playing against, you know, older teenagers who are in their mid to late teens, you're 12, 13, you need people to have your back. But the other team being obnoxious and roaring abuse and like teams putting out ineligible players, older players, just to get a win and trampling all over young lads just so that they can boost their own ego. Like, it's pathetic. It really is. And that's one thing I hate about rugby, but sport as well. Like, it's not just unique to rugby, but obviously that's the one I know the best. And then, like, sorry, just get a drink of water. Mouth gets awfully dry on Lexapro. Really dry lately. But yeah, I've got this shit of being autistic and doing my damnedest to get in and play sport to begin with. And they talk about inclusivity and whatever, but it's all geared towards, like, people have said to me before, oh, you're autistic, do you play on the special team? And like assuming, oh, isn't it wonderful that he can play rugby as well? And then a guy will just say to them, no, Jesus, have you seen Dan play? Like, I don't even mean they're saying it in a derogatory way. It's like, oh, well done, yeah, do you play on this team because that's the special needs team? And guys will say, no, Jesus, Dan's one of our best players on the main team. And people are kind of like, holy fuck, well done. And that's like such a confidence booster. But as I started getting older, you know, we had a South African coach up in St Mary's, Garrett. A shout out to Garrett because he's my favourite coach ever. I loved him. Like, Garrett had his dream taken off him. You know, like he was going to play for the Springboks, and then had a bad car crash. Hope he doesn't mind me saying this. He's a lawyer as well, so he'll know how to sue me if I say anything incorrect. I loved them, you know, and like South Africans pride themselves on a really physical style of rugby, which I liked. Like, I used to watch players like Bakkies Botha and see how they played and just their aggression, and kind of just watch that and learn from them. And when you don't really have a clear sense of identity, which I never have, like I didn't really know anything else, thought rugby is my identity. And I kind of modelled myself off these guys. So, like, I wasn't really a mouthpiece on the pitch. I wanted to get on with the game. Um, if someone said something to me, I'd kind of just laugh and kind of go, I'm not good with my words here, but I'll get them. I'll mark their card and I'll fucking get them. You know, physically and leading by actions was more my thing. And I remember kind of trying to adopt this persona of almost like an enforcer on the pitch, because I've been shitting myself for so many games. Now I'd actually been very brave, and I was putting on a bit of muscle at this stage. I'd gone to the gym, getting fitter. Um, Prozac, when I was on that, kind of drove me a bit too lolly as well, and then throw a bit of alcohol into the mix. My temperament was a bit all over the shop, but I started getting sent off a bit more. Like, um, could be a bit of a dirty prick at times, but because the people would say stuff to you, like try and rile you up. And then also there was a few cheap shots. And if anybody cheap shotted me, like I said before, touch was something that you start touching and annoying me, I'm gonna fucking go apeshit here. Probably to my detriment sometimes, but like I remember just thinking to myself, well, if they're going to cheap shot me and put in late hits on me and try and injure me, fuck it, I'm gonna fight fire with fire. And like my mum and my dad and all would have always said, just play your game and carry on as normal. I was like, nah, if they're gonna be dirty, I'm gonna fucking be dirty too. Like, some games I didn't even want to be there. I was anxious as hell. I was kind of stupid on the other lad from the opposition, because if they did something dirty to me, I'd kind of be like, oh, I'm fucking angry now. It'd go from being extremely anxious to raging, like I'm going to kill someone now. So it kind of switched me on. I was alert. Like, I remember before joking with my mum because she came out to, it was a pitch on the other side of Dublin, and long trek to get out there. And I remember just it was a team we didn't like, put it that way. I'm gonna try and get a rivalry going, but um, there were a few words back and forth, and there were a few late hits off the ball. I remember one guy like took me past the ruck, and I was there patting him on the back. The ball's gone, mate. The ball's gone. But he just kept going and driving me back. So I said, "Get off me!" Lifted him up and threw him on his back and held him on the ground. And then one of his teammates kicked me in the back. I was like, "You fucking scumbag!" And I ran up, shoved my elbow in his face, and just went like that. I was like, "Fucking come at me," like, and I was like, "Come at me, bro." I was like, "You think you're a brave man now? Like, that's some of the scummy shit you'd see, like kicking me in the back." So I was like, "Come on, I'm pissed off now, I was there like, "I'll fucking kill you," and like he's mouthing off to me but walking away. So I'm like, "Come back, I want to fucking work with you." And I was like, "Next time you're fucking dead." But you see, like that persona, just getting raging, that tension just building in me. And then like in the same game, like the referee had warned me because I'd done a few things in that game, and then one of their lads was a bit of a dirty prick and was shoving my head into the ground, getting the hands and then grabbing me by the jersey, like pulling up over my head and shoving me into the ground like that. And I was like, "Get off me," and whacked his hand away, and then like open palm, didn't punch because you get a red if you punch, but just went like that, like grabbed him around the neck and just threw him away. And my South African coach is obviously loving it, and like Garrett's loving it on the sideline, but he's there going, like, "Don't get sent off, you can't." um, but we got on really well, and he brought the best out in me, like that aggression. But he was like, "I fucking love it, bro, but don't get sent off." And I was kind of going, "Alright." I was like, he's giving me a compliment, but he's also telling me to be sensible. My mum's kind of just watching, turning her eyes up, going, at that again. But yeah, just just getting into rows with people and guys trying to hit you and punch you, and then I just remember getting into a punching match, like a digging match with someone before. Uh, Amazingly, like when I've punched people before, I haven't gotten even a yellow card. I don't even think a penalty. Just kind of told shake hands and get on with it. But I remember before, like playing a few games for Wanderers, the team I was talking about before. Lovely lads, really nice fellas. Only played 3 games for them, but we were playing, and this lad drove me into a ruck, like hit me off the ball. And I remember just thinking to myself, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking get you now." Like that was a cheap shot, and like just marking his card, just holding a grudge basically, and in a line out, like when he caught the ball. I could have caught it if I tried, but I was like, nah, wait till he gets it. And I just hit him around the head, like with my shoulder, and then knocked him on the ground and went to kick the ball and kicked him in the head. Dirty fucking thing to do, I know, but I was like, ah, fuck him. I even kicked a different fella on the other team. I was like, oh, sorry, mate. He was like, oh, yeah, no bother. He was like, I got the wrong fella. Didn't mean to kick you. And then your man, obviously, who I kicked, the fellow who hit me in the ruck, was like, "Oh yeah, we're on now." So he wanted to get the ball and run at me, which he did. And then I remember just lifting him up and just dropping him on his neck. I was there thinking, "Yeah, I got him." He patted me on the back afterwards and was like you got me good, mate." In fairness, so like that kind of camaraderie, I guess, like where you can smash each other up on the pitch, but after the game you kind of have a laugh. And I guess I'd let stuff get to me too much after the game. Um, like just build up and build up, and also just bring out the worst of me, like rowing and fighting with people on the pitch, letting it get the better of me. Um, like one of my first starts when I went up to play for De La Salle, my friend's team. I played up there. Senior rugby, once I left school. And I was still like 18, 19 at this stage. We're playing against a big fucking team. Um, I was playing second row, so it's quite a physical position. And their second row was like this big fucking 6'9" fella. He was huge. He was like Eastern European or something. But he was going around cheap shotting everybody. He even gouged one of our players. Like stuck the fingers under the eyes, and they were kind of bullying us around, which is a shit feeling in rugby. I've often said this, and I don't really think it's the best thing to say, but I'd rather lose the game and bully the other team than get bullied and win. But sometimes you gotta win and take a few hits, and we did a lot of times because we were a smaller team. Um, but this fella like was shoving my head into the ground, and I was hitting at him, and he punched me like kind of half punch, and I just ran after him. And our scrum half was like, "Look," he was one of the more senior players. He was like, "Leave it, leave it. Lad's bigger than you. He'd probably kill you." I was like, "Maybe, yeah." But the whole game just going on. I was like, "I'm gonna get it." Like this fella and me were just at each other. Like he was pulling my jersey, like holding on to me and holding me back. So when we were going into a ruck, I just shoved him, and he fell over the top of it. And then, like later in the game, he had me round the neck, like had his arm round me, and then another fella, and he was holding us on the ground. And me and the other lad were just throwing elbows like that to get out. And I got out and got up, and he tried grabbing at my legs. Now this is pretty fucking dirty, I know, but I stamped on him, and then I kicked him in the ribs. And he got up and just gave me an absolute haymaker on the left side of my face. And I guess everybody was just kind of going, "Oh," and I was thinking I was going to drop to the ground. I saw fucking red. And I just remember he went to hit me again, and I just ducked. And then, like a liver shot, like just up like that. Um, Bigging myself up, I know, but I was really proud of myself in this because, yeah, it just came at the right moment where I read the situation and gave him a liver shot. And then he went, "Oh," like that, and I just pulled his jersey off his head and just started like, I punched him in the ear actually, which stunned him as well. And then I just started like, whack-a-mole, which got me a nickname. They said, "Oh, the hammer," or you're like whack-a-mole. But I got a yellow card, both of us got sent off, and I had a huge big lump coming out of my face. Your man came over and apologised to me, and didn't go near me the rest of the game, and we won. And we were getting bullied, like it wasn't just me. Like the team picked it up, and we had a few lads who were playing well. But I think that moment was like one of the young lads has been started on. Um, so let's go out here and win it, for him because he's showing a bit of balls. So let's go out there and. But I remember the coach giving out to me when I got sent off, and I was like, he fucking hit me, you know. Be quite a reactive person in that regard, where I just can't let things go. Stuff will just weigh on me, and if you let stuff weigh on you for like literally everything that you do, if I'm second guessing it, which I do a lot, you're always fucking anxious. It's like, oh my god, I should have hit him harder, I should have done this in a game. Like, yeah, I'm bigging myself up a little, right? But I kind of had to develop that sort of game style. I don't even necessarily like talking about it like that, like almost proudly, but kind of made me feel more masculine because I didn't in any other way. I did, no good male role models. That's the point I'm getting at. That's a joke. That J. Cole song. It's really good. I love that song. But Joe Cole is a footballer. But having that, you can almost see how proud I am even saying those little things to you guys now. And everybody was like, yeah, that was ballsy, like fair play to you. Some lads were slagging me off going, oh, you got a big shiner. I was working on a construction site as well, while I still had this big ball coming out my face. And going to college open day, so you can see there's still stresses going on. I don't know, am I going to go to college? Am I going to get a trade? But I go in and I'm kind of like, these lads on the construction site will take the piss out of you for anything. And they were like, oh, look at that big shiner on your face, talking when you should have been listening. And they were going, you think you're a hard man, do you? You won't fucking do that to me. It was like, I'll fucking batter you. And I was kind of laughing, going, alright, mate. And then I made a few mates in there, and they said, oh yeah, we were training them, we had to show them too many times, so we had to fucking loaf them out of it. But then, like, lads in college and loads of good looking girls as well in there, and I kind of thought, oh, well, they think I'm more macho if I have the black eye, because people kept asking about it. I was like, oh yeah, I got that playing a game. You feel ballsy, you feel brave, you feel like Billy Big Bollocks. But then that just led to me playing rugby for all the wrong reasons. It was, oh yeah, Dan's really good at rugby, and I was like, oh yeah, well, I have to show them how good I am, I have to play. And so many games just got so unenjoyable. And I probably would have found the joy in it again and carried on playing if I didn't have a course, as I said before, that was basically like a full-time job, like 40 hours of labs, lectures, tutorials, and got quite fat, like overweight, and yeah, just out of shape. Had to focus on studying, and my autistic brain, the way it works is I can only really prioritize. Like, I can do a lot of different things at one time. I can multitask, but you're not going to get a great result from me, put it that way. If you want a good result, if I do one task, I can do that brilliantly, so like I can go to college and clearly do alright. Like, I wasn't as sciencey as a lot of the people doing my course, but if I dedicated my time to it, I could get through it, and I did. So it's proof, isn't it? If I play rugby and I dedicate all my time to it, I can be player of the year. But you asked me to do that, work a job, study for college, do all these other things, try and be a peer supporter in college too, which I loved, but you're not going to get a good result. And then socialising and drinking, which is another thing, right? So rugby drinking was something I loved. I fucking loved it. It was amazing. And it really encouraged me to drink, because there's a culture of it. And look, rugby culture is great in that regard, like buying a lad a pint who you've just been smashing up in a game. And that's the thing, like, a lot of times there's no ill will towards lads. But if someone's going to be dirty to you in a game, I would always advise the lads on the team I'm coaching now, like, don't be dirty, but, if someone hits you, fucking hit them back. give you my authority. You got to be physical, you know, that's the way the game is. But the drinking element is something I took to very well, or very badly, I guess. Like, I got man of the match in a game, and I was still one of the youngest lads in the team, and I was playing for the first team, so it was huge. You know, my dad, my mum, my brother were there. Everybody was really proud of me. Got a couple of turnovers, made big tackles, big carries as well, and the lads were cheering me on, going, "Oh, look, this new young fella, he's class." You know, because I was thinking, oh, I'm putting in all this effort, but I'm not getting the recognition. And I was like, oh, this is good. But they used to have a thing where it was dick of the day. So whoever done something that made them a bit of a dick, and man of the match. So it's a nice little combo, isn't it? You know, I've got man of the match. This fella's done something a bit dicky, but we're both getting the same punishment. And it's funny talking about it now, but see, I talk about it fondly because it was enjoyable. They'd make us drink a pint of Guinness with a shot of Sambuca just dropped in. Oh, that did not go down well, but you had to neck it as well. So, um, anybody ever try necking a pint of Guinness? Never mind with Sambuca in it. It's not an easy task. Um, and then like you'd play the game, you'd come back, and if you were on an away game, what we used to do is, and I've done that in every rugby club I've been at since I was 18. You know, you would then get given a load of beers. You know, so the lads would bring in cans of Heineken for you after the game. And you'd have a few drinks, and you'd have drinks in the clubhouse. That was great. I loved doing that. I'd much rather do that and go to a pub than say get absolutely blotto, shit faced in a nightclub. I'd rather play a rugby game and have a few drinks afterwards. Loved doing it, but I did it to excess all the time. And if lads were like, "We're gonna go to a bar and then we're gonna go to a nightclub," I'd be like, "Oh, absolutely, count me in, for sure." Because you're going off with a good group of lads. If anything, if a fight does happen, you're with a group of lads who you've just, you know, battled with, basically. You know, cringy quotes coming in, incoming. But you're kind of like, we all share the fact that we respect each other because we're playing rugby with each other. We all get on well with each other, you know, and that's the thing. You're kind of like, right, yeah, maybe the trial for Leinster's gone, but I'm playing stuff, I'm keeping physically fit, I'm playing games every week. The lads think I'm great, the lads are praising me, can have a good laugh and a few drinks. Um, Also, because so many lads are buying you around, you're saving money. Uh, Free gym as well. Like, there's a lot of positives to it, you know, and you think to yourself, am I just being an ungrateful prick? I couldn't even explain it, but it just got on top of me. Like, I was drinking too much, falling behind in college, and that's the big thing. I couldn't keep up with college. Could barely get out of bed. My anxiety was so sky high. Because if you think about it, like when I described my week and what that was like, you know, 4 gym sessions a week, running 12K 4 or 5 times a week, sometimes even 5 gym sessions a week, then um, playing a game at the weekend, sometimes playing 3 games at the weekend, maybe 2.5, we'll say. Um, so you're going out on Saturday if you don't have a game the day after, and you're getting shit faced, which was very often. And sometimes even if I did have a game the next day, I'd get shit faced on the Saturday, which is even worse because you're not fully recovered by the time Monday comes around, and then you have to get up and go to college. You have to work at the weekend as well. You know, it's not good. It's not good at all. It's a bad idea, and it will catch up with you. And it caught up with me faster, I guess, because I'm more sensitive to shit like that. Um, and I guess what I didn't consider was when I did have to stop playing rugby as much, you know, like take a breather from it. It was such an integral part of my identity that I was like, fuck, what do I have? What am I? Who am I? You know, this was everything to me. Um, and now I can't last longer than one half in the games. And like trying to go back and play for the same team and just thinking, no, I'm out of shape, feel like shit, playing 2 games and just leaving, telling the lads I wanted to kill myself. Um, I just feel worthless, which I've said multiple times. We'd had a lot to drink and just broke down in front of a lot of them. And the funny thing is, a lot of managers said they knew what I was going through. I know you have depression. It was kind of like, oh, okay, but they didn't really know how to come and how to take it. Like I say, a lot of lads and a lot of men, like you expect women to be sympathetic, which a lot of them are, in fairness. But I find a lot of people in general, and a lot of lads are going through the same shit, where they're just overwhelmed and they don't know what to do. And like that's the reason I started this channel. I think the reason why I wanted to make a video on rugby is because it's a great sport. I always said to myself, "Oh, rugby is my identity," and then I was like, "Rugby shit, rugby's so bad. It's taken a lot from me. It made me anxious, and I was like, no, no, like I don't want to think of it in a bad way, because it's been a good thing. It's a love of mine. It was and has been my passion. But I didn't do it right. I was overdoing it. And lads in every sport will take advantage of you because, like I said about that element of narcissism, and they want to succeed. They don't give a shit, some of them, about you. It's like they'll buy you loads of drink, they'll tell you you're great, they'll tell you you're wonderful. They want you to play though. They want you playing. Um, and a lot of them are good lads as well. And a lot of them are sympathetic. But in fairness to them, how would they know the full story because you're too embarrassed to tell them? Which I was, and I didn't want to tell them. And I was like, yeah, I'm depressed. I feel like shit. I'm crying every day. I want to kill myself almost every day. My self worth is through the floor. Like, your mind can be in a shitty place, and if you're physically able to perform, you can get your arse out into the rugby pitch, and then you can just flick a switch. That's what I meant to do. And then you can just all of a sudden perform. You can go, you can play the game. And I stopped being able to do that. It was like, I don't really think I can. And there's a lot of tactics and game plan, which as a coach, I love doing that. Like, I think, yeah, really good. But in the game, when you get really bad brain fog, and you just can't think straight, and lads are telling you to go here, go there, and you're like, oh, no. That's ironically what fucks with my head the most. I can get the ball and I can run it straight and I can do all the fundamentals and I can tackle, keep it as uncomplicated as possible. The moment you start complicating it, I'm like, oh, fuck's sake, what? My head's already fried. And like the last game was rugby league that I played, and I remember thinking, why the fuck did I agree to do this? Travel all the way to Northern Ireland for a game that I didn't even want to play. And then going out drinking and having to walk an hour and a half all the way through Dublin city centre, which is fucking dangerous, at 2:30 in the morning to stay on some sound lad's couch who offered to put me up for the night because I said I'd stay out and drink with them because I just couldn't say no. And when you have such low self-esteem, it's easy for you to be manipulated into going out drinking. Not manipulated, but you don't want to say no. Like, if guys they just want you to come out, they're not manipulating you, that's the wrong word to use, but they like your company and they're inviting you out. You coming out, Dan, for a few pints? Oh yeah, of course. Because I'm there thinking I can't complain about having no friends if every time I'm invited somewhere I turn it down. So like, lads are being decent and they're inviting me out now, and that's because of rugby, because I'm good at rugby and they like me, Like, I'd see lads who were as nervous as me, some lads trying out for rugby, and they weren't naturally good at it. And just the abuse that they would get, you'd be like, oh, he's shit, he's useless, don't put him in the team. And be kind of there, a bit more sympathetic, Like, there was a lad before, who just, God love me, wasn't good at rugby, but I ran back, sprinted after a winger. Like, I'm a second row, so like, I'm a bigger fella, so it takes more out of me. But I made a cover tackle, jumped on the fella, hands up in the air, got a turnover, spun around and popped it up to him, like threw it up, and then he dropped it. the lads are like, oh, for fuck's sake, what are you doing? You're fucking shit. And I was like, look, it's alright, don't worry about it. He's like, how's that fella going to feel if you talk to him that way? And I'm hearing like Johnny Sexton's book was released recently, and there's just a lot of tension around it, like what happened with him and Rico Ioane. If you don't know about that, look it up. It's an interesting one. Johnny Sexton will go down as one of the best rugby players Ireland ever produced, of course. But you're just there thinking, well, if you got past the quarter final and you kicked your points, you wouldn't have to be arguing after a game because New Zealand would be going home, not Ireland, but that's besides the point. Won't get into that, maybe that's one for the future. But he was talking about fighting among teammates on the pitch, and then my uncle was saying it to my mum, like my uncle would be a very man's man, like big strong fella, played in the front row, big fucking, the hands on him are like shovels, just a big fella, and he was a bouncer too, so he's a tough guy. But he was just saying how teammates would be fighting amongst each other, and to me that never made sense. Like I'm there thinking to myself, if you are going into battle, keep using that, but that's what I'm going to say. If you're going out into the pitch with these lads and your teammates, why on earth would you be fighting with each other? Fight with the other team, yeah, I'm all for that. Not for being a dickhead, but if you want to be a bit aggressive, yeah, you want to win the game, you're not going to be perfect, you got to do what you got to do to win within the law. But fighting amongst each other, like I remember just doing drills in rugby, and like as I said, being up there from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m, like 4 hours, and we'd be going through drills and lads would be there hitting each other in the rucks and like really hard, and I'd be there kind of going, but what the fuck are you doing? Like we were saying we were going to 50%, now lads are putting in proper tackles and basically injuring other fellas. You're like, for fuck's sake, like calm down. We're not playing a full contact game here, Sometimes we'd be told we're going full contact, we're going to tackle each other at 100%, so get your gum shields and get ready. Grand. But some lads would just take it very seriously. And you would kind of, like I have had rows with people in training, but I'm not having a fucking full-blown fight with someone just because they got a passing drill wrong. I could never get my head around that. I don't know if it's because I'm too gentle a soul or because I've had a lifetime of fucking trauma to deal with. And I don't say that lightly, plenty of people have, but yeah, I guess you kind of think to yourself, there's so much shit going on, my body's going into shutdown mode, my nervous system just can't take any more stress. And I've tried staying involved with rugby, playing in the seconds team and then the thirds, winning the little cup, even being extremely overweight, and now getting involved in coaching. So I think I'm doing my best considering how much my body has fucking broken down. Like even running around and training, I'm alright at it, I can do it, but my endurance just is not what it used to be. And I just got embarrassed, like playing rugby games 3 times in a row, puking on the pitch because I was just retching. My body had taken too much, and with antidepressants I get very dizzy, get very queasy, and I start to just feel sick, and I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna get sick now, I can't do any more. And when I'm coming on and off them, there's the side effects of coming off them are horrific as well, and it can last for months, especially with me being on them for so long. If I decide to come off them cold turkey, which I have a lot of times, because I'm like, these things are fucking making me feel like shit, but the side effects are still there, so you think I'll take the pills, which are like, they're the ones causing it. But I think for the time being I need to stay on them, and if I'm going to do it right, then I need to say to myself, I'm not going to be physically as fit as I was before, but I've got to live with that. Got to get the head right. The noggin needs sorting, because if that's not right, nothing else can be. And I wasn't playing sport for the right reason. It was all because someone said, oh, he's really good. It's like, oh yeah, I want to prove to these lads how good I am. They were like, oh, you're class, yeah, when you play in this game. It's like, Now there's the expectation, um, and yeah, like the camaraderie, as I said, is great, and it's also something like you don't have to necessarily be buzzing buddies, like really close friends with everybody, you know, but you can go to the clubhouse and everybody's there. You can chat to some fella and you can have a pint with them, and that's important because you could be relying on your mates and then they don't show up or they're busy. But if you're playing a rugby game, you can talk to a lad you maybe haven't spoken to in a while. And I still do that. Like I'm meeting a lot of new people, and I'm coming at it from a more relaxed approach because I don't want lads to think I'm a prick as of a coach, and I don't think I am. Like I'm fairly relaxed. If lads come to me and they say, can we try this move or can we work on this? I'd be like, yeah, why not? And kind of like if it's constructive, if they're like, oh, I couldn't be arsed doing this, this is shit, let's do something else. I'll be like, no, look, I'm the coach. Like I even had a lad only today, um, who was going mental, because I called a knock on and he didn't think it was, and I was like, it's a knock on, and then he started going, oh my god, for fuck. I was like, it's training, get over yourself and stop whinging, and stop talking to me like that as well. But even like if I got it wrong, it's only training, so I'm kind of trying to get it across. Don't be getting so pissed off even if I did get it wrong because it's training. We make mistakes, and so I'm just trying to kind of beat that attitude out of them. Um, but they're good lads. They're easy enough to coach. In fairness, because God knows I've been in some teams that were not easy to coach. Um, but yeah, like as I said before, I've issues with alcohol. So being in that environment where you enjoy all the drinks and you're off with lads, and you see the combination of getting that ego boost from rugby, which I am good at, to loosening up and having a few drinks so you can socialise. Now you're kind of like, these guys are making me feel great because they're boosting my ego, and the alcohol's making me loosen up so I can chat to everybody. Everybody wants to get to know me because they saw how well I played today. Meanwhile, you are fucking destroying your body because you're physically battering yourself. You've been flogging yourself all week in training. You're not giving yourself enough time to recover, and now you're poisoning yourself with alcohol. Your body is just breaking down, and it's not good. And you're going to suffer for it. And I luckily have nipped it in the bud before it gets to the stage where I can't. Because you see people when they're older and they're just in bits. So I needed to take a step back. Coaching is doing me well for the time being. I'm going to stick at that and then we'll see. I'm not knocking rugby in any way, because it's great. It is a great sport. It's my favourite sport by a mile. One that I've taken to, one that I'm currently still involved with, thank God. I'll be forever grateful to Fozzie for giving me that chance. And Niall, big mention for him as well. And that's the thing, I'm with a great bunch of lads who are helping, who are coaching with me. I'm not the head coach, like we're all coaching together, but we all really get on well, so it's good to have such a good bunch of lads with me. And I'm really getting into it. Like I can still talk tactics. I basically write down what's in my brain onto the page because I'm not stupid. Like I do get tactics. I understand rugby. I have a rugby brain, but when you get overwhelmed like I do, you can look a bit dim because you're there thinking, "Oh, I should have remembered that." And people are like, "Come on, we worked on this already," and you're like, "Yeah, I know." But you're there thinking, "I can't retain anything in that because I'm so anxious." But then, like, if I'm not anxious, I can come up with plays and I can do moves with lads. You know, but it's just an extra thing for me that I have to consider that unfortunately you can't relate to a lot of people with autism in that regard because there's not a lot playing a sport like rugby. And if there are, I haven't heard of many, unfortunately. And I hope that if anyone is out there that plays rugby and has autism, please do get in touch because I'd really love to talk about that. That'd be fascinating for me to get in touch and talk to someone about that because had I had that chat with someone and anyone relate to me in that regard, I would have been like, right, yeah, that makes sense. Unfortunately, I had to break myself down and realise that I was doing too much um, in order for me to take a breather. And I hope somebody else can watch this video and not feel the need to do that. That's what the aim of this is, you know. Like I say, I'm not knocking the sport. I'm not saying that it's a bad sport. It's not. It's a great sport. I love it, and I love watching it. I love working on tactics. But me personally, having as many hours in college, having a job, having family issues going on, just having such low self-esteem, I needed a break. Perhaps you can keep doing it and it doesn't affect you as much, fine. But if you're noticing you're getting anxious and you're starting to feel like shit and life is becoming very stressful, perhaps go to training, maybe watch, maybe play on a lesser team, you know, like where there's not as much pressure. That's what I did and that worked for me at the time. Now that I'm getting back on medication, like I said, dry mouth, like drinking water again. Stomach discomfort. Did a whole video on antidepressant side effects. If anyone wants to check that out, but it's hard to stay involved at a high level of sport on antidepressants. In my experience, maybe you have been able to. I don't know, but it's been hard for me. And I'm starting to realise it wasn't for lack of trying. I tried incredibly hard. It was just too difficult. And in that regard, you need to really realise, am I enjoying sport? Do I still like this sport? The answer is yes, in my case. But physically, I'm not at the level I need to be to play it at the moment. I need to sort other shit out. And when I do that, maybe I can get back playing. Maybe. If not, I could stay involved in coaching, so that is okay for me for now. And guys, I know I said it before. I know these videos are long, but when I'm on a roll, I want to get so much information out there. I want to share it with you guys. Yeah, this channel's not huge. I don't know if it ever will be, but I'd appreciate if you liked, commented, shared, whatever, just to get it circulating. Just share your story, whatever. Really helps boost the algorithm. So yeah, cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.